actual date today is wrong.
Now what's wrong, Jay?
The date is wrong.
They did.
Yeah.
For
The notes for today.
Martin, I don't know. We put
7, 7, 8.
now you put eight,
Mm.
8, 9. Supposed to be seven,
Yeah,
eight,
8, 9. Mm.
and even there is supposed. This is supposed to be last. Okay, it's, it's supposed to be. I don't know why he is writing all this.
Mm-mm. Stop that. Ish, be careful. Yes. So Jay, are we going to edit this proposal to, or are we going to keep on looking for the original proposal?
I'm gonna do policy training. I think that we never had official original proposal because it wasn't necessary because
Yes.
it's just the terms. So I think that we are done looking, and right now what we want to do is focus on the voting form.
Okay.
Can we make the topic?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
send
can talk
me the
about it.
topic.
Okay.
That's that's stop it. Stop it. Okay, so
Time to pause.
let's
Please
see.
stop. Your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
Okay, so let's say staffing voting form 15 to 20 to 30 minutes. Create voting form for 2.0. Is that okay?
Um, yeah, but I
I
think the
think
topic
to
is
verify
co-op 2.0, right?
Mm-hmm.
2.0.
Okay. Any objection to the topic?
No.
Um, I think what we want to do is make sure we have it organized and kind of like an outline for our goals of what we're trying to accomplish. You know. All
Mm-hmm.
right, but yeah, I'm in agreement for topic 3.
Okay, I'm making the tab. So
Okay.
wait, voting form. Don't do that. Okay. Mhm. Okay, Lucy, can you please link the form? Daniel, can you stop that?
So I want to start with just like the outline and like goals, right? So the overall goal
Okay.
is to have agreement on our new policies to prioritize organization and clients over workers, right? So basically, the whole point of
This
co-op.
is anyone recording?
Yeah, I'm live.
I want to read them.
You can read them.
Do you have rhythm?
Yes.
Okay. So the whole point of co-op 2.0 so far is to reduce powers and rights of work.
Mm-hmm. Workers.
So I'm not happy about that. I don't like it, but it just so happens to be that's what's happened. That's what's happening. So all these
Ready. Now
proposals are about.
2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Relax.
So all these proposals for co-op 2.0. So co-op 1.0, basically all workers are equal. So co-op 1.0, all workers are equal and
Mm-mm.
basically can do
What
whatever
do you want?
they want to, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it works good if people are able to organize themselves and actually get to work, but obviously we're not good at that. So co-op 2.0 has limits to worker power, increases power to clients and executive to set deadlines, and et cetera, right? So less power for the workers, more power for the executives, HR board, clients, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so basically what we want to do here is kind of get an outline of the voting form. So we'll have our introduction, we kind of just went over. Then we have the original proposals, umbrella proposal that we want to organize. Then we have like the terms agreement. And then from there we have the new options, right? So the new options. So we need to review and go over the new options to make sure it's clear what they are and that they're all organized properly. Jeez. Then you get some coffee.
Yeah.
Water here too.
This your coffee is really taking longer.
Mm.
Yeah, but it definitely gets worse when I'm talking. All right. So
So you need things like ginger. Do people have ginger in America?
yeah, I love ginger. Okay. So let's see if we can figure out um, all of the options.
Any options?
Yeah, those options. Yes, I was to
So we
put
have
all
so we
of
have
them.
Time to pause.
on
Please
off
stop.
model.
Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
Okay, so then we have fixed contracts, fixed client contracts only pay for completed work. And then we have the on and off model. So I think those are the two primary proposals that are being presented. And then everything else is related to the money. So let's go over the the voting form and see what.
Okay.
So we have no introduction. So the introduction's a problem.
Okay.
And then so I could work on that. So name, how you feel? Okay. Proposal. Agree to co-op 2.0 allow posts. So then create. So the first proposal is actually the terms. So that's the terms. It's also not formatted correctly. The second proposal is the new fixed contracts. So that should be like the third proposal. So we're just missing the original. Oh, the waiting, requiring workers to wait. That's different. So there's the client fixed client contracts, workers waiting, and then there's the on-off model. Let's see what else you have. And upfront pay work signature. So this is different. This is related to just the budget. Okay, so
The one that not related to this, we delete them.
okay, then there's the co-op 1.0 change.
Yeah.
So I think that would actually go as part of the original proposals. So the original proposals, there's the co-op 1.1.0 change. There's the original co-op 2.0 original, and then we also have the I would actually put it after the original. We have the original gamification proposal. So there's the co-op 2.0, there's the original gamification proposal, there's the co-op 1.0 change, then we have the terms agreement, co-op 2.0 terms, co-op 2.0 terms agreement. Then we've got proposals for gamification. So we will Mars will want us to take on the required.
Stand up and stretch and move around for 30 seconds.
So there's the question of whether or not we do that. Okay, so there's two things in general here, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first thing is overall co-op 2.0 major changes to our policies and values, right? Where we are reducing the power and equality of workers. So that is major core value changes. The second, and of course, it does not affect co-op 1.0. It's good to note that all of our initial models for co-op 1.0 don't change. We're just doing a new layer for co-op 2.0. So we can always go back to co-op 1.0 if we want to. So then from there we have proposals, budget, and client work for income. All right, so these are two separate things. So the question is, do we need to vote on budget proposals? So, or do we just need to, like, the only that's votable really is this question of whether or not we want to do the the bar session, and we have a deadline for that. Let's see what the deadline is.
For what?
We need to vote on whether or not we're going to do the Mars session, and we have a deadline for planetary sessions. Voting is February 20th, but we're supposed to do February 19th as the next deadline, so that's a little bit odd. But either way, the other thing that we can vote on is basically that the money stops now, but that's sort of irrelevant since we know that the money is going to stop anyways, and that's already been approved in the budget. So I don't know. I don't know if it's necessary to include the two budget proposals. What do you think? I think they're sort of separate.
Budget related. So I don't know which proposal is talking the budget here. Let me see.
I mean, I think it's better to just vote on this topic 2. So, Atay, if you go to topic 2, you can vote on topic 2 if you want, and it has
Okay.
it has all of the budget proposals and priorities for both external revenue and internal client income.
Please stop.
for the
Your
team.
eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm there.
So for me, this is where we vote. For example, we have the planetary sessions is on line 25. So right now, that is not a top priority. So if we don't want to prioritize the
Mm-hmm.
planetary sessions, we shouldn't do them. So the question is, what client work are we actually going to do? Because we don't do all the work. So the idea is to try to focus on something and get something started with the client because we have no money. So the client has no money. And so the client needs to seriously consider what we're actually going to prioritize. And it would be great to do the planetary session, but it doesn't make sense to put money towards the planetary session and then not happen.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
so the other question is just regards to the overall budget, and the overall budget is already zero. We know there's no money. So I feel like overall, um, we just don't need to include those in the proposals. Does that make sense, Lucy? What do you think?
Jay, but if we yeah, if you ask me for ask what I think we should focus on um the investors relation, fundraising, client outreach and sales, multimedia, and the new internal client.
Yeah, so the new internal client is line 19.
Yes, I think
So
we should
that's number
focus on
three.
that and
And then we have the token profiles and then the grants. We didn't agree to investor relations, but that is number three on the external revenue generation.
yeah. So even if we focus on the grants, fundraising, client outreach, multimedia, and the new internal client, even the tokens, I think if we focus on that and get that work done, income will come in. We should, as I said last time, it's not this deadlines are just too much to be adding planetary to it. I really want us to do a planetary session, but the deadlines are just too overwhelming.
Yeah, especially when it's only like half our deadlines. We still have recruitment and like all the other deadlines, and then we have no money. So it's definitely very unfortunate. But I mean, if we're not going to do the planetary session for Mars for March, then we need to do the next one. So we would need to look at the calendar and see what the next planetary session is, which
Time.
might be like, for
Breath.
example, July.
And get ready. Now inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Relax.
So we could do like the July Earth session or something like that, yeah. So, anyways, I wish that we could do the Mars session. I just don't know how to get people serious about it, and also especially since we're running out of money, it just complicates everything, and it's kind of disastrous.
So Jay,
So,
another
mhm,
question. Running
mhm.
out of money after I think the money stop is it in 1 week?
4 days.
Okay, after the money stop, those that will continue to work, are they still going to be working according to the pay stop deadlines? Because it doesn't make sense because people knows to be getting pay. Pay stop is for upfront.
Correct. Yeah. So there's no deadlines for people who aren't getting paid.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So if we're not getting upfront paid, then there's no deadlines to be able to stop payments. Obviously, we could set up, for example, bonus cuts to our tokens and other things like that. So there's certainly things that we could do to incentivize getting work done by deadlines, but we don't have any agreements or anything set up on that level. So right now it's just the upfront pay. But even without um, upfront pay in the budget, the client can still have bonuses available for work to get done by a deadline, right? So we could make money outside of the budget if the client can budget the work. So the question is about as a matter of like, what are the priorities and what do we need to get done? Because I mean, even if the the deadlines end, not the deadlines, even if the budget ends, the deadline still exists, the work still exists, right? So the work itself doesn't go away. You know, the whole point of me as the executive hiring everybody to help do all of the work is that otherwise I have to do it all myself. So I do a lot of the work myself anyways, but I would just have to do even more work on myself. Does that make sense? If no one else wants to help with it.
Yeah,
Yes.
it does make sense.
Okay. What do you mean by saying bonus cut? Client might put the bonus cut. If there is
No, the client would be creating upfront bonuses for getting work
Time.
done, even if we don't have a base payroll,
Close your
right?
eyes. Count. One,
so
two,
that we mean
three,
when they
Okay,
work
but we
in
have upfront bonuses.
I don't know if we're gonna have any right now. There's $0 for the payroll for
anyway.
next month. So
Yeah,
we
we just
have we have we have the money we have for this month. We have agreement on all of that, but all of our accounting is a disaster. We haven't completed the work. We don't know how much money we have. We don't know how much money we're spending. Right? Those are the questions that we've been asking for years, and no one does the work. Right? We don't do all the work. So at the end of this month, which is February 28th, the current budget will end and we will run the payroll for this month. So the payroll will be a normal upfront payroll, and it will cover all of the limitations. Like I think the total budget was like $200, so it'll be the maximum $200 per team or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So from there we're going to run that payroll, but then for the next month there is no money to create a budget to pay people with the current uh, agreements in the current model. So what we're trying to do, there's two things we're trying to do. One, we're going to try to find money, including the
Yeah.
new client, and we know we have some nonprofit money, and we know we have potential a little bit of money here and there in the for-profit. But the problem with the for-profit money is that we still have to do multiple payrolls, and reimbursements, and I mean, I don't know if we have to do, well, we might even have to do bonuses. I don't know. We have a whole bunch of money that still needs to be paid. So that money is going to continue to go down and make us have even less money than we already do, which is a disaster. Plus, we have to pay all of our bills and we have to cut bills. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that need to happen. Um, until we can reconcile the payrolls with the money that exists in the accounts currently and all of the for profit, basically kind of like finalizing everything from, let's just call it co-op 1.0. We need to finalize everything for co-op 1.0, kind of like what we did with FQN when FQN sort of fell apart. We finalized everything, had the final payments, and then we found out how much money we had left for SFC. So now SFC is kind of falling apart in terms of like we ran out of money. So we need to close everything up and then actually see how much money is left. There might be nothing left. We might have negative money. If we have negative money, there is not a single for-profit client work that we could do upfront pay for, whether it's bonus or anything. There's just nothing we can do if we have negative money, right? And plus, we will owe more money to people.
Write down whatever we're about to say and take a break for 6 minutes.
So we might be able to like negotiate with people to take negative money and pay off the loan or something like that. I don't know, whatever. But the point is that if we don't have any money to pay, the money either has to come out of my personal accounts or it needs to be coming from somewhere else, right? So if that all works out and we're able to have a little money left over, then we can maybe put some bonuses on some of the for like the client work output, like the actual deliverables. And then from there, we might be able to get the nonprofit funds like for the grants set up. And then from there, we might be able to get the new client set up again. And then from there, maybe we can start bringing in some money and figuring something out. So anyways, it is definitely not a good situation. I really don't know what's going to happen, but it could be anything from being able to get a new budget set up very quickly to being a month or two of just no base pay and no upfront pay. And as far as like right now, if you track hours, you get all your tokens. And what I was mentioning about the bonuses is that if we only had token payroll and we had no upfront payroll, we technically have the ability to pass policies to reduce bonuses for not meeting deadlines. Or I think that's a better way of saying it is like here you get a bonus for meeting a deadline, like extra token bonuses for meeting deadlines. And if you don't meet deadlines, then you don't get those tokens, right? So you can have token incentives for meeting deadlines as well. But we don't have that right now. Does that make
But
sense,
for
Lucy?
yes, but for tokens, since our token is not, we don't have value for token. I don't think whether we can just say we reduce the token a small percentage
Yeah,
for this.
the tokens are
Not have
not
value for
valuable,
token. Not
right?
value, it's just value.
So the tokens can and will have value in the future, which is what we want, right? So getting tokens is certainly a good thing, but typically it takes, many months, if not years, for our tokens to build value. The more work we do on the tokens, the faster the value can be built and they can grow and improve, right? But as far as getting the tokens set up, they're not even set up yet. So because we're not even doing that work. I mean, we're way behind on everything. So anyways, let's take a break. I think we're at the bottom of the hour. It's time for a break.
Yes, four
And then
minute break.
and then I think what we want to do is we just want to get rid of the proposals related to the budget, which is those two proposals related to the budget. So we're going to delete those. Then everything else I think is pretty much there. We just have to change the order and combine the umbrella proposal for the co-op 2.0. And then everything
Okay.
else I think is there except for the on-off model, right? We need to add one proposal for the on-off model, and then we can brainstorm if there's anything else we want to add for co-op 2.0. Otherwise, I think that it will be ready to send out.
Where is the umbrella proposal?
Here I can copy and paste it. It's yeah, here it is. But I do want to review the umbrella proposal just to make sure it's correct. And again, you copy these proposals in as separate proposals, so they're already in there. It just needs to be combined.
Okay.
So this is the original proposal here. So line 40 to 52. No, line 52 is a separate proposal. So that one's separate. So it's just these three
Ah,
proposals.
yeah.
So the umbrella proposal is actually missing, but these are all really just one proposal because basically you're saying you're creating co-op 2.0. There's three parts. One is that um, workers and managers still have flexibility involved in planning deadlines. Executives have primary authority over deadlines, working with the workers, and then it's oversight by HR board. And then the workers can fire the executives and the HR board.
Mm.
The clients can set the pay stop deadlines with oversight from executives. So these three proposals are all the same thing, but it relates the relationship between the workers, the executives, the HR board, and the clients. Okay.
Umbrella proposal, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, no, there's a separate umbrella proposal that we haven't written yet.
I'm
Anyways,
writing.
we'll go through it after the break. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm back.
Me too.
Same here. Mhm. Oh, Jesus.
All right, so I think the umbrella proposal is pretty clear. To create Co-op 2.0 layer that
Yeah.
redefines the relationship between workers, executives, HR board, and clients. Workers have less rights and power, and others have more power.
Okay.
So these others, what are the others?
Well, that would be executives, HR board, and
Time
clients
for
have
breath.
more power
Please
over
and
work over.
get ready. Now inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Relax.
So I'll read it again. Umbrella proposal to approve the following three proposals. To approve the following three proposals to create Co-op 2.0 layer that redefines the relationship between workers, executives, HR board, and clients. Workers have less power over work oversight, and executives, HR board, and clients have more power for work oversight. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So from here, we just need to fix the formatting.
Mm. Angel is sleeping. Go and sleep. Everybody is sleeping. Go and sleep. Mhm.
Okay. So now we
Workers and managers can extend deadlines, but not end
Cancel.
or prevent deadlines. Cannot cancel, end, or prevent deadlines. Workers can propose to HR board to end or change deadlines. Workers can choose to not participate in Co-op 2.0 and instead stay in Co-op 1.0. Okay,
Or go back.
can stay or go back. I mean, going back to Co-op 1.0 is a little bit complicated. Um, so let's go to a separate thing. So instead, stay
What?
in Co-op 1.0. It is possible to go back to 1.0, but it's more. So, for example, like if you miss if you're in Co-op 2.0 and you miss the deadline, you can't just be like, "Oh, the deadline doesn't mean anything to me. I'm just going back to it's like it's a little more complicated than that. But it is technically
Yeah.
possible to go back. It just is a process. So let's see here. I think
Pause.
executives can set payload deadlines, oversight reach report, and clients. Workers can fire the
1, 2,
executives.
3, 4,
Clients
That's
5.
can
play.
set
You
fixed
guys.
up deadlines with oversight from executives and HR board. Client priorities would be protected as the client work group. So maybe we could have a little bit more details regarding the client work group. client priorities would be protected as a client work group. So details. Client work groupings are a group of assignments and assignments or responsibilities of client work priorities, assignments, or responsibilities that are related, right? So this means so a client can prevent contracted agreement on a specific group of assignments if workers do not achieve expectations of the client work of the client. So basically, a client group is a client work group. The client work grouping, right, is a group of priorities, assignments, or responsibilities that are related, right? So if you have 20 different client work groups, the client has the right to remove a single working group or say like this working group is protected based on the contract with the workers, but the workers have a right to the other 19. Does that make sense? Or should I clarify that more?
Yeah, kindly do again.
Okay, so example, if there are 20 separate client uh, assignments, right? This is like groupings of priorities, right? For workers to work on. Um, if a client wants to remove one client grouping, client work grouping, the workers have a right to the other 19 that are still present. Okay? So basically the client can group contracts with the workers, right? And that when the client groups the project contract, then it has control over that contract separate from the other
Stop.
contracts.
Stand and stretch and move around for 30 seconds.
Right? So an example would be like the vortex would be a client grouping. You know, the sponsorship program would be a client grouping, right? Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yeah.
Chair.
So examples from co-op 1.0 would be uh, vortex. Examples of client groupings from co-op 1.0: vortex, sponsorship, taxes, um, bus, right? Et cetera, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
So in co-op 2.0, we can create more groupings, for example, to separate non-profit taxes from for-profit taxes, et cetera, right? So you can create more groupings, and also in co-op 2.0 and co-op 1.0, we create more groupings. Yeah, right. So between the clients and the workers, every contract represents a group of work that needs to get done by a specific deadline. And that also is applicable to co-op 1.0. In co-op 1.0, if you have a co-op grouping, as long as you meet the deadlines in that one specific group of client assignments, then you can continue to work and make money. But if you don't meet the deadlines and the expectations for the client within that group, you can the client can take away that all of that value. Does that make sense?
Ah, now I'm getting. That mean if you don't meet one of the responsibility for that within that, so the client decide take everything.
Yeah, it can take away the value, but the it can decide to not continue the contract, right? The client can end the contract if the workers are not doing the work based on the required deadlines of the client and what the expectations of the client. The client can end the contract, which is already the case, right? But the problem is that in co-op 1.0, the client is irrelevant because the workers can just do whatever the hell they want to and just do like what we do. We do like 2-3% of the work, and then the other 97% of the work doesn't happen, and the client can't do anything about it, and the workers can just take all the money anyways, right?
Please stop.
So
Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your
I think
eyes.
it was a bit
so in
happening,
co-op in
like
co-op
like in
2.0,
Club 1.0, there was limited actually work. Like executive, some most of the priority were not given to SFC, like executive support. It was decided by client. I don't think whether it's really that much new.
exactly, that's the example of a grouping that is withheld from the client, right? That's exactly what we're talking about. So that would be a grouping of client works, client work assignments. So basically, in the new model for co-op 2.0, we have to do all of the work or we can't do any of the work for pay, right? And then and also for co-op 1.0, we can further limit the work assignments based on what someone actually is working instead of giving them, endless money for doing whatever they want, right? So anyways, I think this is pretty good. Does that make sense? Are we good on this? Does everything look good?
Yes. Mhm.
Yes.
So this should be added as one proposal, and then we just need to do the on-off model, and that's the only thing that's missing, and then everything else is good. We just have to change the order a little bit.
Yeah. Let's do one off mode. Big up term agreements. I think we have terms and agreements.
Okay, so let's do the on-off model real quick, and then we will just get the proposals in the right order, and then we're done. So proposal to um, to evolve co-op 2.0 to create less reliance from workers on upfront money payments, and reduce and prevent dependencies, and strengthen equity only token value and volunteer relationships. So I think this is the overall goal of the proposal is to do all this. So so to evolve Co-op 2.0 to
Time for
create
breath. Please stop.
overlapping
Now inhale.
gaps
1,
in
2,
upfront
3.
pay.
Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Relax.
So I think the only thing you're missing is the word break. So to evolve Co-op to create overlapping uh, gaps, and breaks from upfront pay. Okay, so the primary detail for this is that um, workers would be hired for let's say 1 to 3 months, and then as temporary workers, and then know that after that time they would no longer be paid upfront pay. if they continue, right? um, this would be an overlapping model, so there would be uh, two teams and separations. So we could always have budgets ongoing if we have money. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Technically, a person could be, quote, promoted to be on both teams and have uh, their pay not be ended if agreement is reached to rehire them on the other team. And then lastly, there can also be direct, what's it called? Appointments.
Time to pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count one,
Hey, there was
two,
the other part.
three,
Okay.
four.
Officer appointment.
Open your eyes.
Subcontracting. That's what it's called. So it can be also be direct subcontracted appointments by client to workers, workers which would be continuous contracts with no gaps. All right, so those would be the details. So let's read this again, see if you understand it. Um, to evolve Co-op 2.0 to create overlapping gaps and breaks from upfront pay. This would create less reliance from workers on upfront money payments, prevent dependencies on the organization, which you've had a lot of problems with, for basic life needs, etc., and strengthen equity only token value and volunteer relationships.
I need to only talk about it.
Okay.
Okay.
So, are there any questions about this proposal? Do you understand the proposal of what it would mean? So, basically, you would have 1 to 3 months on and then 1 to 3 months off where you were not getting paid. I could try to make sure that's clear. So, after temporary hire for 1 to 3 months of upfront pay, the worker would then be required to wait 1 to 3 months before having the opportunity to get rehired for upfront. So there would be an off period. Yep, when we call that the off. Okay, so that you would have to wait before then get.
So when you
We
say
would
you have to
synchronize
wait,
this with our recruitment rounds, right? We would synchronize this with recruitment. So we would synchronize.
does that mean when we say wait, the organization will contact this person later, or it just like you suspend and forget?
I mean, the general idea, like the ideal situation would be that, so ideally we would find people who, save and want to continue working for tokens, ideally because the tokens have value, but also
Time to take a break. Please
that
stop.
there is a
Write down
balance
the lecture you
between
were about to study and
and
take a break for 6 minutes.
equity pay, right? So the ideal is you find people who would want to continue working during the unpaid months. So if they work for a month or two paid, then they would continue a month or two unpaid, and then they can get rehired a month or two paid, and then off. So it's basically going back and forth. So the other the other reason for this is that this would give much more oversight and evaluation processes for public accountability in a controlled and organized process. So when you do month to month budgeting, there's really no evaluation. There's no time for evaluation. But when you take a couple months off, you would have multiple months to evaluate each worker, compare them, see where they're at in relationship to the public needs and the needs of the clients and everything. And then only rehire the workers who are actually putting in the
Doing
effort
the
and the energy, because it would just be much more accountability. Anyways, I'm not saying this is a good proposal. I'm not saying it will even get agreed upon. I'm just saying it's a really interesting idea because, for example, I haven't gotten paid all year, right? I'm sitting here hoping and looking for people who care about the world and care about the fact that, billions of people could die and trillions of animals could die because we have all the environmental catastrophes, all of the corruption going on in the world. Like, I don't care about the money. So I want to find people who want to work with me who also are here because we want to actually do something for the world. And if everybody is here because they just want money, then it's not the right people. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This would also help to filter out people who are just here for money, and not, um, you know, here to focus on the missions and, um, you know, global crises, right? So let's say if someone's just here for the money and they want to make their 200, 300, $500 a month, hopefully one day more, they get paid for a couple months and then it's like, okay, the money stops. Are you still going to stick around for a couple months, or were you just here for the money? Right? And ideally, some people would actually start as volunteers and start as equity only, token only for a couple months and then get paid afterwards. Like, that would be the ideal setup, is that people get involved. In some ways, that's kind of the model that we're going for. So the other proposal that we have is the proposal for no longer paying people unless all the work gets completed. Right? So if we no longer pay people unless the work gets completed, right? that is very, very significant and makes some major changes, right? So the first thing that changes if we did that, this is the other proposal. So this actually already passed at the main session for English. So this is line 71. So we already have this one in the voting form, but we're going to be voting on it again to see if it actually passes the whole organization. So Co-op 2.0 requires fixed contracts for workers for the client to pay money when work is completed and client expectations have been met. No work completed, no pay. Don't have to pay for setup, training, output, only pay for deliverables. So basically, this is huge because if we did this, it would change a lot of things. One, the client could now budget, okay, we're going to pay $250 to make sure this contract happens. So we want this contract to be written. And instead of people just working on the contract or like the planetary sessions, we want to pay $500 for the planetary session to happen. If the planetary session doesn't happen, we pay nothing. Right? So basically it's saying that the like, because we're paying tens of thousands of dollars and then not all the work doesn't happen. So the client can't budget for the actual deliverables and the output, which basically means that the client just has to bleed and it's just endlessly losing money and not meeting the goals of the client work. So, for example, if the workers can't get the work done, the client still has that $500 to spend on someone else. The money doesn't just disappear. Whereas currently, all the money disappears. Like if it's going to be $250 a month, and we have $500, and then all the worker has to do is just do training and set up for 2 months in a row, and the money's gone, and nothing is completed. And then there's no work output, and there's no actual deliverable, but the worker still gets all the money, and the client loses everything. And that's what we're currently is happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in the new model, it would change everything so that if the work doesn't actually get completed,
Time to start. Please get focused on the session.
so in the old model with FQN, after all of the things fell apart, with FQN you didn't even have to do any client work at all, and you got paid. You just do budget and you could literally just work on the budget and just work on the payroll and get paid as much money as you wanted. So that was the FQN model before SFC. Then SFC was okay, you have to actually do the client work. So as long as you're doing client work, you can get paid, but you don't actually have to complete anything.
So now
So now we're
want,
saying, okay, we actually have to start completing client work. So we want to get paid, we have to actually finish something and actually do some sort of actual output and deliverable. And the other thing this would change is it would completely change payroll. Like if all the money actually relates to actual deliverables, there's no payroll process anymore, right? The payroll is just direct, and it's in every single